Let's try some examples of the HTML method. This first one is going to fetch the contents of the element. Remember, when we don't pass any parameter to the HTML method, it fetches the content of the first selected element and returns it as the value. Now let's try injecting some new content. Here we have a small HTML fragment that we're passing to the HTML method. This injects the new content into the existing element. It's important to remember that this replaces any previous content. This final example of the HTML method uses a function callback. It's passed the index of the element within the DOM and the old content. Whatever this function returns as its value is what is going to be injected into the element. And remember, this callback is called for every single element in the wrapped set, in this case, every p element. The function context is set to the target parent, and the return value can be customized for every element. We can't do that when we call this with a fixed value. Let's go to the browser and actually see this in action. Okay, here we're looking at our test DOM page loaded into the Chrome browser with this JavaScript console open. If you're not using Chrome, every browser has its own JavaScript console, with the exception of Firefox, where you can get the Firebug plugin, which will provide a JavaScript console. The JavaScript console is really useful because not only does it show us JavaScript errors, it's going to let us enter JavaScript commands that are executed against the currently loaded page. That's going to make it invaluable to actually watch jQuery methods in action. Now, in order to save time, and so you don't have to watch my poor typing skills, I'll be cutting and pasting commands out of this text file to paste into the browser. Here's our first example. We called the HTML function without a parameter, specifying the first p in the test DOM, and it returns its value, which is shown here in the JavaScript browser. The first actually was redundant. If we were to enter the command as such, we get the exact same value because remember, when we're fetching values, only the first element in the DOM is considered. The rest are ignored. Our second example injected an HTML fragment into the DOM. Now, that might not have done exactly what you expected, but it is what is expected. When we inject an HTML fragment into the DOM with the HTML command, it replaces any previous content. So all of the content of the element test DOM was replaced with our new p tag, and everything that used to be there is gone. This gives us a lot of power, which we must be sure to use carefully. Let me put things back the way they were. And let's go try our third example. This one is interesting because it shows that because we passed a callback function, that callback function can operate on each element individually. So it took the contents of this first p tag and uppercased it. And our second p tag was also uppercased, but with the original content of each of the original elements.